to break it to you, but if you're watching this video, you are most likely addicted to social media. You have to understand that these algorithms are not people on the other side of the screen watching your every move. Algorithm is artificial intelligence built to get to know you as well as possible. The whole point is to get you on this app and keep you there as long as possible. But yeah, they'll use what you like, save, and share to show you content that you like, but don't be fooled because it's not a fair fight. An algorithm that you truly don't understand is playing on your weaknesses. I'm not telling you this to encourage you to delete social media, but it's very important that social media users know the fight we're up against. And the crazy part about it is, this video may be shadow banned, or if enough people engage with it, it might really blow up. But that's not up to me, it's up to the algorithm.
It off. That's what I would say. It's hard for young people now because they're hooked. They're addicted. If you don't think you're addicted, and I'm talking about anyone, from the highest to the lowest, if you don't think you're addicted, then see if you can turn it off for a week. It got quiet in here, didn't it? Didn't it get real quiet? It's a tool, so we should use it. God has blessed us with free will. Now it's free will magnified, free will on steroids. You're free to go in any direction you want. It will allow you, and it's not the enemy. It's just it's just a reflection of our own free will. Oh, and we all want to be liked, but now we want to be liked by 16 million. And will now some of us do anything to be liked? We used to do anything to be liked, but it was by the person in front of you. Now it's to be liked by 16 million people that you don't know.
Children, we need to talk. If you started your spiritual journey through TikTok at the height of the pandemic, there's a great chance that you're rocking with some misconceptions that are keeping you stagnant. So let's check in. I'm Jasmine, a celebrity spiritual consultant, dream psychic, medium, your favorite internet earth guide, and this is Reality Check. For one, you do not need to be able to see your spirit guide, nor do you need to know their name in order to work with them. If we are multi-dimensional beings, your spirit guide must be too, and they may not always want to format into a dimension that is perceivable to us. Here on this plane, there are colors and sounds that we cannot see nor hear because we don't have the capabilities required. So maybe your spirit guide is not focused on teaching you their name because you don't have 4 lungs, 36 vocal cords, and 6 tongues to utter it. I was once in meditation and I heard that Hathor's name is not Hathor. It is a breath, but the closest that we could get to with our humanness is Hathor. Point number 2, the spirits do not work for you, baby doll. Just because you leave an offering does not mean that is going to bathe result. You have to establish a connection. Jasmine, it's about intention. Imagine a bitch builds me a shrine and you bring me an apple. But Jasmine, my heart is pure. I don't give a damn, I'm a god. And if I'm being real, some of the spirits don't want to work with y'all because your spirits are in fact dirty. You haven't done any shadow work, you don't meditate, you don't commit to anywhere else, but you're going to commit to conjuring my energy, to invoking my spirit, and to giving me the things that I need to sustain to be able to sustain you back, girl, please. But probably the most important, if a spirit wants to find you, it will. A lot of y'all be like, Jasmine, I'm scared to start spiritual work. I don't want to unleash a spirit in my house. Your house is a spirit. The plants that you just bought, they're spirits, including the one that's dying in the corner because you ain't watered it in a week. Yeah, an unhappy spirit, baby doll. And most times the spirits will try and find you within your dreams, which is why when you start your journey, the dreams get real hectic. Make sure you're writing your dreams down, and if you need help decoding them, download the Yoru X app. It's a community of dreamers, and they have a dream interpretation function that helps provide you with clarity.
It's important for people to realize that spirituality and materialism can coexist. The biggest misconception about spirituality is that the physical world and physical things no longer matter or don't mean nothing. As if once you wake up, you become disconnected and lose interest in the physical world. That's not true. If anything, you enjoy the physical world more. The difference is you're not attached to material possessions. You're not letting external factors define you as a spiritual being. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience, a physical experience on this planet. It's nothing but materialism around us. It's literally embedded in the world that we live in. You can customize and decorate your human body however you want and enjoy material things. That don't make you less spiritual than the next. Being spiritual and connected to source don't always have to be so serious. It don't always have to be strict. It ain't no rule book to spirituality. We are all on an individual path. Do as your spirit desires. One of the reasons why we're here is to have this human experience. It's nothing wrong with enjoying the physical. It's all about balance.
Turn up their light, but it also triggers demons because it may remind people of how dim their light. Name a misconception that people have about spiritual growth. I'll go first and I'll name 3 of them. Number 1, people believe that when you raise your vibrational frequency or expand your light, then afterward you're only going to attract light of a similar or greater frequency, when that's not true. Light attracts high vibrational light and low vibrational light. Everything loves the light. High vibrational light is magnetic to all types of energy. Think about how a moth just cannot resist a flame because the light is so captivating and appealing. See, light radiates, it illuminates, it provides warmth, but light also exposes. So when you turn up your light, you're going to tap the light in other people. You're going to awaken the light in other people, even if that light is hidden and buried underneath of their shadow. So that means your high frequency is going to agitate other people's light. It's going to irritate other people's light. It's going to inspire other people's light. Light is a trigger, and I think people don't understand that. They think all I need to do is raise my vibration, and it's going to make other people want to raise their vibration. Sometimes people can be resistant to your light. So what I'm saying is high vibrational frequency or light inspires other people to turn up their light, but it also triggers demons because it may remind people of how dim their light actually is because they're ruled by their shadow. Number 2, the twin flame soulmate narrative. It has been grossly exploited and manipulated, and ironically, as far as like spiritual growth and personal growth, sometimes it pushes people further away from themselves because it promotes this idea that sense of fulfillment and completion exists outside of oneself. Yes, there are individuals with whom we have very intense soul contracts and unfinished storylines from past lifetimes, and we reconvene with these people so that we can play out these storylines and get these lessons. But the idea that you have to be obsessed and on a mission to find this other person because there are parts of you that are empty and there's a void that you can't fill, I think that ends up being more destructive and counterproductive to a person's spiritual growth. Number 3, no outside object, a deck of cards, stones, crystals, were supposed to replace your wisdom and intuitive guidance. They were supposed to assist you in your understanding and confirm what you had already downloaded within your spirit.
Yo, 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 we are back with another video. It's the Initiates once again. My name is Kyrie Anthony, also known as a hood mystic. That's weird. I'm also known as the Hood Mystic. Here with my boy AD, Sacred Serpent. We are 3/4 of the Initiate. Shout out to my boy Jabri, somewhere probably doing something important. But anyways, AD, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let us know what's going on your social media and what you got really popping off. You know what I'm saying? What's your business? Like, how can people support you?
Peace to the tribe, and welcome to the Initiates of the Flame. I am Alex, also co-host of the Hierophants Book Club. How you can support me is go check out that book club, join our email list. Go ahead, subscribe to our content. We can talk about a lot of books. Right now, we're going over the Bible. Join me and Breeze. He is the other member of the team. Works hard with me. It helps me with the research. So make sure you check out his Instagram as well. I'll put that below, Jabreezy. But also, you can really get with me on tarot readings. I love to help people understand astrology. I love to give people tarot readings. So hit me up, email me. I'll put that all below. Even put your sign in the chat and let us know what your birth sign is. And because this group talks about astrology heavy, we want to introduce that to you guys and just learn about that because there's some spiritual misconceptions with astrology. So go ahead, check out my team as well. Thank you.
Sacred Serpent, Sacred Dog Serpent by C. Maurice. 1/4 for the Initiates as well. Also, join the Initiates Substack. We just been heavy at work over here. got something real special in the plans for the family. Um, Something beautiful, I think, that could actually benefit everybody. And once again, thank you for the space. Want to give our shades to the ancestors, known and unknown, and yeah, let's get it. Let's get to it.
So
But
what's
before we get into it, I just want to do a little shameless plug. Go ahead and visit White Rabbit Psychedelics. When you visit the site, it's going to be a free, no cost to you, nothing. But I feel like the worth of it is like monumental. It's a psychedelic therapy manual and worksheet. And what this is what they paying 600 thousands of dollars for all over the country to do these psychedelic retreats. It's a lot of scam artists out here. I'm giving it to you all for free just because I love you and I care about you. It's the most magical thing ever. It's like the deepest intention setting. But you ever know how like you want a big booty girl, but don't know big booty girls show up? It's because your brain isn't in that state of mind where it can begin to truly attract a big booty girl. Now, for free 99, you can get a psychedelic therapy manual and worksheet. This works with mushrooms, LSD. It works with weed. It works with tea, right? Whatever you take to get into that zone, you can set your intentions, get into that zone, and make real magic happen. So I want everybody to download the psychedelic therapy manual for free. It's gonna be free forever, but I'm telling you, the value of these worksheets, trust me, I've done the work. I'm like really living in the enjoyment of understanding all the shit that I talk about, right? This is the actual gasoline to get this shit going. But the reality is, the reason why I'm giving it to you for free is no amount of money, and there's nothing that I can say that can motivate somebody to get up off their ass and do the work themselves. However, if it's something that you want to do, the opportunity is right here at whiterabbitsite.com for free 99. Just want to put that out there. What was you about to say, AD?
I just want to see what we want to tack into regarding the what we just had up for the collective. But also, I will recommend getting that. Like, please do. Mushrooms has changed my life, even just from the different types. So please check out the Colombian Change.
Type shit. So you was talking about as far as like um what we're going to be talking about, like
Yeah, like just because I feel like all those videos were like pretty awesome. So
yeah,
I just want to see,
for sure. And in the description, there is a link if you want to join the conversation. Feel free. But I feel like we are going to have some different opinions on the particular subjects. You're going to get nuance, you're going to get understanding, overstanding, and the relationship between social media and spiritual development, because it has to be a relationship to it. If you're listening to this video, right? If you're listening to this video, you have to bear witness to the relationship between social media and spiritual development, because on this channel, that's all we talk about. That's all we care about. But we're utilizing social media to get our voice across. The thing that makes it a little different is that there's a lot of other things you could be tuning in and tapping into. And we all do. Like even me, I'm not the only thing that I don't just consume spiritual content. You understand what I'm saying? So there's so much to choose from and what we can actually consume, that are we addicted to it? And then how does our addiction to social media affect, help, or support our spiritual journey? Because maybe being on social media could be the worst thing to our spiritual development, because 20 years ago the internet wasn't even a thing really. So We got a lot to talk about, and of course, we're going to be reacting to this videos. We want you guys to join the conversation as well. Link is in the description, but be active in the chat as well. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let us know. It's 11 people in the chat so far, from what I can see, but we streaming to multiple channels today. If you could be so kindly, let us know what city, state, either or, right? You want to give both or whatever, city, state, and what's your sign, and we're gonna throw it up there, have some conversation about it. But AD, Sacred, what is your opinion on the subject matter, social media addiction, and of course your spiritual development and the spiritual misconceptions, because there are a million different spiritual ideas online. They all can't be right. What's your opinion on the subject matter?
Well, starting from understanding, right? So me being like stepping in spirituality at a young age and learning things and discovering things, especially when you're on social media, just getting hit with so much info and you don't have the particular studies or don't know even where to start, you're gonna be just taking concepts and all this shit off of emotional opinions and biases, you know. And I've been there before. So it's just like, just for people at a young age starting a spiritual journey and just running into shit online, it's a crazy thing that hits hard, and it kind of shocks me, honestly.
You good, AD?
Yeah, no, that was it. Could you hear me?
Yeah, I can. No, I wasn't sure if you was finished or not.
Oh, okay, my fault.
Um, yeah. I guess I kind of echo a lot of those sentiments that AD brought up, but I think what I think is extremely crucial for the people to understand, so to speak, would be like the understanding of what you focus on is what ultimately you end up creating more of within your physical reality. So like if the majority of your day is online and in a social media app, and you're comparing, your life to those people's lives, or you're focused in on, a guy that might have that shit, or a girl that might have that shit, or might seem to have, this unbelievable life, that's encapsulated in pictures, so to speak. Like that ultimately ends up being the reality that you ultimately create for yourself. You're just gonna see more of that. Like you're not going to end up creating a life with you experiencing that abundance. You're just going to end up creating a life in which you're always looking at someone else living abundantly. So, like, I think no matter what we say or do on any of these platforms, I don't think it ultimately matters how and in which way any particular individual chooses to cultivate their spiritual development. Because if we're being honest, like a lot of people don't give a fuck about spiritual development. And like us being the people that we are trying to um get this message across to just the people's ears who have those ears to hear. Like this message, we are very well aware it's not going to be necessary for everyone because everyone is not on this particular frequency. I just think that in order for us to really dive into humanity's addiction in any realm, in any area, whether that's social media or drugs or just any type of vice that people just have to do every day. Like, I think we need to always create some space for the understanding part and why it is the person feels like these things are better for them than their own personal and individual lives. I didn't mean to be long winded, my bad.
Nah, you good. It made me think about something that I've been working on, a daily time log where I'm like figuring out what I'm doing every day, and I'm realizing like shit, a lot of my day I'm driving. So now I'm just trying to figure out how I can either A, drive less or have somebody drive for me. Like I'm like figuring out like the maximization of my time. But I think the realization comes from like writing it down, looking at it, and then realizing like I'm like literally like writing down the things that I'm doing every day and how it make me feel. You realize like when I feel bad is when I'm driving. I'm like, oh fuck. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm literally driving all day. So it's like, oh shit. This is where I gotta do the work at. But you don't really figure that out if you
That's where
looking
the
at,
tidal wave comes in, huh? Like when you're sitting still, that's where the tidal wave comes in.
yeah,
Okay.
like
It
realize
makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense.
you gotta look within yourself though. You if you're looking at everything and you scrolling on IG, regardless of what you're doing, you just lost. You know what I'm saying? But it's so
Mhm.
many devices, like in like I'm just getting to a mode where I'm online, but I'm more in like journaling and like imagining how niggas was moving and shaking
Mhm.
before the internet. And it was a lot
Mhm.
of pen to pad structuring and organizing your shit and then like doing the self examination work. But it's been helpful though. So what you said, it just like brought that up for me. I just want to share that.
Yeah, it
Nah,
was a lot of pen, a lot of folded, dropped off notes in that time that you're talking about. But go ahead.
nah, yeah, and I understand her because doing the driving and like trying to find the time is crazy. And you'll be surprised, man, how many times somebody, and I even call myself doing this, you'll be working and then out of nowhere, like you just pull your phone out, like for a
Yeah.
brief second, and then you put it back. And then you'll do like two more pages, then you pull it back out. And then after you put it back up, you just like, fuck it, I'm gonna just like have it open, leave it sitting here, and I'm gonna just flip through this shit, but look down a couple few times. You know, like you doing multitasking now and like you finna fuck up everything, but that's just, and you might not see that as a problem. Cause at one point I didn't. I was just like, man, just on my phone. You know, and like when you hear yourself say that, it's just like, but what am I doing?
Yeah, whenever you get yourself to a point that you're making concessions, unnecessary concessions to justify doing the thing that you know you don't need to be fucking doing, like instead of just looking at the phone and putting it back, now you're gonna have it sitting out and open, right? You know what I'm saying? Like whenever you got 5-10 minutes to kill, so you feel like you can scroll for this 10-15 minutes, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. Then that 15 minutes turn into a half hour, that half hour turn into 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like it 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 doesn't seem like much. However, you when Hood was talking about the ideas coming to him about maximizing his time, like I think that's exactly why they come up, because the lower part of you, wants the entertainment, it wants, these flashy images, like anything that's gonna keep you docile and sitting still, but the higher part is like, yeah, well, what could you be doing at this time that would go work perfectly towards the goal that you set, right? Like, what could you be doing right now? And it's that battle, right? It's definitely that battle between the can I kill this time right here versus can I use this 15 minutes and put it towards my ultimate goal? Like that ultimately is what it comes down to, right?
Yeah, but I think like people haven't sat either. It's two things. Like either you haven't like you don't believe you can achieve your ultimate goal, or you're not in touch with that part. Sometimes people live a life where they have a thing and they imagine that that thing that they have is what they should have had. But the more deeper you probe into doing this work, you realize a lot of different things. Let's just say that whatever we going, you should always know that whatever you going for at this particular point in time, an older version of you is going to look back at this version that you are today and be like, that motherfucker was a fucking idiot. And if you don't realize that
Mm-hmm.
you're an idiot right now, you'll never mature. So that's true. Look at yourself at any point in life. Look at yourself at a 10 years earlier version, you're gonna see a fucking idiot. Right. So but
Mm-hmm.
we have to start to look at ourselves like that now and start to do the work. My final point to is like when I'm talking about the psychedelic journal, one of the things about it is the person that you are today. That's something that you have to journal. The person that you want to be, that's something that you have to journal. But I'm telling you, if you can write down the person that you want to be, the person that you see yourself as, everything else, you'll see the scam in it, because everybody try and get you to be somebody that you could never be. Only you could tell you the person that you're trying to be. But that's a level of knowing the amount of greatness that you could achieve. Like I see greatness in so many people, and the sad part about this shit, bro, is that they don't really see it within themselves. And at a certain point, how could they? You know what I'm saying? That's the sad part about it. Because what in life is going to tell you that you have to do all of this work, break all of these barriers, be so patient, let all of this social media go, like really get into a level of understanding and overstanding, completely change yourself around to see how great you can be. You might have to cut off your best friend, right? And a lot of times people don't see it until their best friend fuck them over, and then they like, damn. But the thing about life, man, this shit is real. So if you make a mistake, you gonna fuck up. And when you fuck up, it ain't no do-over. It ain't no can I come back again and do it over. And the fucked up part about spirituality is that it got so many people fooled that you can actually do that shit. And the facts of the matter is, if you fucked up, you fucked up. And if it's like a crackhead. You ever seen a crackhead before? When a crackhead be a crackhead, you be like, he done got clean, but he always gonna be that crackhead. And a lot of times, the way that we structure in our lives with this social media, the ways that we are built, think, eat, live, it's like crackhead shit. And it's a lot of shit that motherfuckers can't even recover from. So the spiritual world is telling a whole bunch of people you can do whatever you want. And motherfuckers is out here doing whatever they want. But whatever you want got consequences in real life. But ain't nothing spiritual about, you know what I'm saying, bailing yourself out of jail or some shit like that, or like trying to figure your life out, because this life that we live in is so real that the spiritual shit that people talking about, it ain't even nowhere near close to what it's really truly about. But I think like only after you've been in this shit for years and years and years that you really start to see and understand. But the internet, you can go viral in a day, and now you telling niggas what to do spiritually. One more thing, I would stop. But it was this one, like it ain't, it can happen to anybody, I guess. But the one nigga who had like all of the spiritual freestyle videos, he was rapping about everything. He had all of this spiritual clout, but he fucking fighting his girl and shit, like catching DV charges. And I'm like, where all them spiritual miracle videos at when you catching them
Yeah,
charges?
yeah,
You
yeah,
stay spiritual charges.
Yeah.
And it's weird to me. Like it's like they be worshiping the spirit of catching a weird charge that you can't get out of, like, or some weird humiliation ritual or some shit like that. But I feel like if you truly about this spiritual path, you're not about to be kicking up dust with the police on no circumstance. But that's pretty much a long ass rant. But anyways, I got a lot of shit to talk about.
no, it needed to be said. It needed to be said because them niggas, it. There is a such thing as spiritual ethics, right?
Right.
And these people can go around and talk about all of this fascinating stuff as much as they like. However, if anybody that is calling themselves a guru and is trying to teach anything along the lines of spirituality, and they're not even, lifting a finger to say anything about spiritual consequence, then you should know that these people are charlatans and they're trying to beat you in the head, right? Because everything costs, and even in the spiritual world. In fact, the spiritual world is so fly that if you do some behind the scenes bullshit, spirit will put it out there in the open for everybody to catch you, right? Like that's how fly spirit is, right? Like people think that, they can just do these money rituals and do these little spells and draw their rooms, and lay them in front of their bed at night. And, they're going to get the guy or girl that they want, and that's going to be the end of the story. No, that spirit is owed something on the spiritual plane. Okay, so whether they come and get it or you give it back willingly, like that's between y'all. But listen, spiritual ethics is a thing, and you just can't be out here calling out all these gods and goddesses and don't think that you gotta pay that tab in the end. Like you gotta pay that tab. Like
It
that's
make
just
me,
what it is.
it make me think about like how niggas is like so spiritual, but then they could just go into like a Whole Foods, get whatever they
Mhm,
want, just
mhm,
walk out that
mhm.
bitch, not paying nothing, talking about Ashe,
Shay.
Ashe, walking up out of Whole Foods with a whole fucking King.
All you gotta do is say hold tap at the cashier. Oh my god.
That's fake. I went to Whole Foods. The motherfuckers arrested my black ass. Hell no.
Yo, yo,
That's
that's
exactly what it
crazy.
is. Nasty
That's
business.
crazy. That's nasty work, bro. But yeah, like this shit costs, bro. Like it may not be in the form of your physical dollars, but this shit costs, man. Like,
Yeah.
oh man.
Where do
Let's move on, big bro.
Ethics may refer to the philosophical study of the concepts of moral, right or wrong, and moral, good and bad. Now, I think that introductory to spirit, intermediate to spirit have a weird arrogance that they could do whatever they want to do as far as spiritual modes and spiritual journey and a subjective truth, your truth. You're allowed to speak your truth. And these concepts, as somebody who have been in the spiritual community for a long time, have done my spiritual work for years and years and years, I feel that if that's your attitude, that you can do whatever you want, I feel like that's you making a grave mistake, right? If you study
Mhm.
Catholicism, it's levels of sin, and the
Yeah.
worst sin in the world, I think, is that you actually think that there is no God, and you could go a
Piety. They
time
call
in
that they call that piety, right? Isn't that piety? That
I think
self righteousness?
it's called a grave sin. Like the
Mm-hmm.
worst thing you could do, a transgression of a divine law in a grievous matter with full knowledge and consent, right? Like I think that the more we I think we intuitively know that God is real. Maybe we don't understand it. Maybe we want to go against it. And then we get into the spiritual community and we don't actually understand the guide rails to spiritual development and the thing that we can or cannot do. And so we just imagine that we can do whatever and go down whatever rabbit hole, but end up in a different dimension. But then we come out of that rabbit hole. We got two baby mamas, three kids, all in the name of doing whatever we want. And the
Mm-hmm.
reality is that there is a way to live your life because already know like I've you could be ignorant to a situation before you get into a situation. And because you don't know what's going to happen, you can say, oh, we're going to have a wonderful XYZ. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be everything, my wildest dreams. But the reality is when you get knee deep in the middle of that shit, it's not that. Now, the reality is that if you don't know that beforehand, you're going to say this like spirituality, nigga, you don't know shit about this shit because tomorrow it could be completely different. So that's the reality of it. So if you in a group of people and they talking about some shit that they know, I'm just going just like be afraid because I know they, for one, I know they charge you an arm and a leg. For two, I know that they're teaching you shit.
That's a fact.
And I know, and for three, it's all for them to get some money so they can pay their bills.
Okay.
Yeah, like they doing this shit because they gotta do it type shit. Not
They
out
gotta do
of
it.
not out of the love of their heart, not out of the kindness of their souls. No, they doing this shit because Ray needs some sneakers at the end of the week and they gotta pay that light bill. Like, yeah.
Fact. Some bills is coming up. So when you talk about spirituality, though, the problem that we have with it is that everybody is so money hungry and everybody is so like it's like this. I had this analogy pop up into my head when I was trying to explain like just like in the hood and you see like girls and how they be in the hood, right? They be weird, right? That's
Mhm.
crazy to say, right? If you ever
That's
in the hood,
actually a thing. No, that's actually a thing.
shit that's actually happening, right? So I was like thinking like it's like an ant telling an ant what it's like to be a human, and the ant's like, all right, I'm gonna do exactly what you say to a T. Like, I'm gonna fucking do it perfectly, and then you come back to the ant. Like, why shit ain't happening? He like, you just
I did everything you said to do.
yeah. So you will see some shit happening in the hood that is just not right and exact, but they just doing it like it is right and exact, but that's they teachers. So we got this whole society of people, good and bad, left and right, that's being taught by people who don't know what it's like to exist in the world. People only know how to exist in the root chakra, like
Mm-hmm.
living.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You feel me?
Total animal existence. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What makes people like, because I think what makes people forget the whole morality, because when they get to learning and studying things, especially about Christianity, in a way of form, having a certain belief about something gets demystified for them in a way and breaks it for them, where they had this type of emotional bond to it and they get upset that what it was fake or however it made them feel. And it's like they forget about the morality, but they learn all these things that so-called make them spiritual.
I mean, I think it's by design. I think like when me and my friends, we was like 16, we had got baptized because we was like real good kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we got baptized probably like 16. And then we just got introduced to so many things like selling drugs and guns and gang
Like
life and
right after your baptism, like right after that.
baptism, to the point that me and my niggas, we was reflecting on it. We was just like in the middle of some shit. We was like, damn, ain't it weird how all this shit happened after we got baptized? Almost seemed like we got baptized into some evil shit, but we just kind of
That was a hell of a sign, my guy.
and just kind of went on with it. But I think like the whole Christian religion is not one God, it's many different gods that exist within the church. Different demons operate over the churches and they drain the energy. So when you are stepping away from the church, you stepping away from a good thing. But then let's think about it. How many times have you went into a church and they going through the Bible from Genesis to Revelation? They not doing that. They picking and choosing different verses, different excerpts, talking about it for 15 minutes, getting niggas riled up into the Holy Ghost and hitting them for 10, 20, 50, $100 your tithes or whatever. So
Sort of like
not related to the Bible,
sort of like a drill rap song, huh?
pretty much.
You talking about them 808 beats, Sacred?
No, I'm just saying like the comparison, like like let's just be honest, right? Like whether we are into that stuff or not, whether we're at that point in our lives where we understand the consequence of the frequency of that music, we know it's slap when we hear one, right? Like, a couple niggas' moms might be getting pushed down the steps and shit, but that song is hot, right? Like we know a hot song, and they normally like get us riled up with like those so-called hot songs, right? Like, and it's not even a matter of talent or like it's good music. It's because of the frequency and the repetition that in which it would expose to the masses. So now you've heard this song 6, 7 times. Now you ready to get it. Every time you hear a similar beat or that beat come on, like you ready to go. Like that's exactly what that is. Like it's the same way with the church and the way they use certain verses and certain things to correlate with particular narratives that they concocted within just the environment that they existed in currently. Like they create these narratives and then they correlate them with Bible verses. And as long as you're going through some shit, yeah, you're gonna be on the side of the shit that they talking, right? Because it sounds like they talking to you. They're not really talking to you, like I mean, they talking to you, but they're not really talking to you, right? Because they're just saying these words, and these words do get people riled up. Like, yeah, I think it's important, right?
Nah, they go to a whole school to learn how to go and
Yeah, 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 And
somebody.
I was just saying, like, I think it's important that you know the difference, but I also think, the actual concept that comes from any one of these religious books is necessary because it's ultimately teaching you about yourself. If you are not capable of connecting those dots, then yeah, that's a different story, but that's ultimately what this stuff is about, and it's absolutely fucking necessary. They call it the greatest book on earth is because the book is about you. So that makes you the greatest book on earth. But I digress.
Let's talk about frequency real quick.
Now, these are the legs of that double helix. These are the legs. Now, the latter steps on it, they become the adenine, the guanine, the cytosine, and thymine, the ATCGs. It turns out hydrogen, they used to think that energy, the body transferred or understood the energy information through electricity. They're finding out it's through frequency. Well, guess what hydrogen sounds like? It's a key of E, and it's a color yellow. That's what proper physics gets you to. Oxygen is a chartreuse, and it's the key of F over F sharp. Now, they used to, like I said, information used to be thought about as just electrical information passing on. But I got a question for you. Have you ever been at a party with some of your friends you ain't seen in 10 years, but y'all was like 14, you hung out and there's a song that came on and you like, and everybody got up and was live at that moment. Now, say 10 years later, you got a friend with you. He's a good guy, but he wasn't there when me and my boys formed this. So when that song comes on, our DNA tightens. There's a particular song, a scale in the genome for each and every one of us. Now, when that song is played, when your particular prime resonant frequency is played, guess what happens? Your DNA celebrates and tightens. Everything else gets pushed out. Harmonic wave resequencing. The carbon is also the key of E in yellow. The nitrogen is G. And all these play a song. So say that the F over F sharps of the oxygen, the green, is only hitting at an F. Why? Because there's another frequency coming in from a generator over there. That's changing and causing it to change. The F hits the carbon. So instead of hitting as an F sharp, it hits as an F. So when it hits the carbon at an E, it doesn't hit it quite right. So the domino don't file right. So the next domino hits wrong. And so now we have malformation happening within our DNA because the frequencies are being pushed off. But when we hear our tone, we tighten back up. So yeah, I'm in the process of building the harmonic wave resequencer with another doctor who has been able to successfully cure AIDS and cancer. And it's well underway. But I wanted you guys to understand how that works. It's so simple. You do not need to tear the human body apart when all you can do is use frequency to bring it back to its normal space.
So I guess, AD, to answer your question, I think like when we mature spiritually, we get to a frequency where that energy that we are hearing is disturbing our DNA to such a severe level that we can't bear it any longer. And we force ourselves out. But most of us don't have the like consciousness or awareness to like really gather what's taking place.
Yeah.
But we all can bear witness to, man, I don't feel like I can come back to this church no more type shit.
The crazy part is, so it's sort of like a conscious denial that basically that's what you're describing. Like it's a conscious denial that, that shit is actually something that could be detrimental. You should go ahead along with it anyway.
Yeah, it falls in the lines of the cognitive dissonance.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. That's great.
Shout out P-Bev. Shout out P-Bev.
To break it to you, but if you're watching this video, you are most likely addicted to social media. You have to understand that these algorithms are not people on the other side of the screen watching your every move. Algorithm is artificial intelligence built to get to know you as well as possible. The whole point is to get you on this app and keep you there as long as possible. But yeah, they'll use what you like, save, and share to show you content that you like, but don't be fooled because it's not a fair fight. An algorithm that you truly don't understand is playing on your weaknesses. I'm not telling you this to encourage you to delete social media, but it's very important that social media users know the fight we're up against. And the crazy part about it is, this video may be shadow banned, or if enough people engage with it, it might really blow up. But that's not up to me, it's up to the algorithm.
I mean, it's very kind of like interesting because when we did Kendrick and Drake, that video ended up doing like 10,000 views. And it's because like we the same people, but it's just like the content. Like I always be like always tempted to just like do smut content just for the views because that's where the people at. But then again, it's like, I don't know. I just don't care because I got a real life. So I rather do content that I really resonate with and not even worry about it. But what say y'all? Should you go for the clout or should you go for your heart?
Yeah, I think that's the that's that fine line that's played with between what's socially accepted and what some in the spiritual community will call selling your soul, right? really, if that's the case, then we would all probably come on here with nightgowns and wigs, and we could all do the Medea, because I'm sure that that would get a lot of views, right?
They got
Um,
hell yeah.
um, yeah, I could say that it's a personal decision, right? Because that's always going to be my answer when it comes to morality. Like, that's a personal thing. You know, I could say what morality is, and I could say what it means to me, or how it's represented within my life, but I can't say to another person what their morality is, right? They probably have a number fixed in their mind that they will do anything for said number, right? Like, these are different kinds of people that think on that path, right? So, um, and I think, like Hood was talking about that video. Like, I think that video was probably one of our best videos, but we probably didn't get the views for the reason that we should have gotten the views. Like, I think we got the views because people saw Kendrick and Drake, right? Like, I don't think we necessarily got the views because of why we were talking about Kendrick and Drake. But that just goes to what we're talking about now with what would be the intent as to why you would be creating the content. Are you creating it for likes under any circumstance, or are you creating it because you're actually creating something with the content that is supposed to spark something else, right? Some people create for that reason still. And I think that's the pure form of creation. The rest of it is like regurgitated and borrowed and chopped and screwed and stolen and repurposed under different banners and different narratives that really probably have absolutely nothing to do with why content was created in the first place. So um, I think it's a personal question. And if I'm speaking for myself or any part of the initiative, it would be like, that's not something that we do here. Like, we don't create content necessarily for likes, like, at all. Because we are some funny niggas, like, but no, like, our stuff is geared more towards like education and information, not necessarily readily handy for the average individual. Like, it's not that. But I think social media has everything based on this competition level, this comparison level thing. And everything will always be geared more towards popularity and not necessarily towards morality and ethics and right and wrong, so to speak.
Right. You gotta think about your why. Every time you put a why to something, it's always gonna give you a deep understanding. Because earlier we talked about seeing that deep greatness for yourself. And sometimes greatness is not always seen. Like, if you see yourself achieving this powerful goal, you have to see and realize what that goal is for you. Comparing yourself to somebody is like the biggest downfall. And sometimes we want to achieve other things that we heard people achieve. So you have to understand and dig through yourself. It's like, why? Do 7 whys. Each question, each understanding. And write them down. And that's really going to help you create that. Because 9 times 10, we always have false idols. So, and you have to get rid of those.
Explain why you do 7 whys, baby. Explain that.
So you have to constantly keep digging, right? Because one why, because it's so easy to give yourself a simple answer, right? And you got to do it. You
mm,
gotta do it with somebody too, right? Like having somebody question you.
That's
Because
profound right there. That's
you can have
fucking
your partner
profound.
do it, a
And you
friend.
gotta have a witness. And you gotta have a witness.
Mm-hmm.
That's profound right there.
You know, like, because if you ever want to be in a group, if you ever want to hang out with people, you have to be intentional. Like, what is y'all doing together? You know, what is y'all bringing? What y'all goal y'all have in mind? And if you don't think about those type of things, you'll waste your time with people, and then y'all fall out, and then all you can say is, so and so, we this and that, not realizing the accountability you took. So, always ask yourself why.
Yeah, that's dope, bro. That's dope. Can't hear you.
Oh, I was saying how AD, I don't know how you be doing that shit because I didn't tell you about it, but I was working on this worksheet. You can't see it. I was trying to find a digital copy, but I can't find it. I don't know where I did it at.
Mm-hmm.
But is if you look closely, it say the 5 whys. It's to like getting to the root of some shit. Like you need to ask yourself why as many times as you get to the root, because if you keep asking yourself why this, why that, then you start to get real breakthroughs, and that's really key. Because if you don't do that work, then you're going to be surface level with even what's going on in your life, and the surface is never the solution. So I think that's rude. I just think it's profound but also weird how the fuck this nigga always
Yeah,
be saying.
because isn't the first few responses, or at least most of the the most of the initial responses coming from the ego anyway, and you're not talking to the ego.
Yeah, you don't want to get with the ego. The ego is why we in the problem in the first place.
Yeah, so the initial question ultimately is going to be answered in the positive towards the ego's direction. Obviously, like yeah. So 7 times, like that motherfucker gonna fall asleep on one of those times, and that's generally the answer that you're looking for, right? Something that doesn't have anything to do with the initial answer that you got. That shit is crazy, bro. You gotta trick yourself. You gotta trick yourself, bro.
Check
That's
yourself
crazy.
before you work yourself. Check yourself before you work.
What
That,
y'all think
that,
about this? Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. What y'all feel about that?
oh, I think I think it's perfect. I was doing that little breakdown to that video where the logical man was sort of like making fun of the spiritual man, so to speak, because the spiritual man was telling him that, the black woman is God, and the logical man just, he had all of the logical explanations for God and everything else. And I was looking at the disparity, and what it told me was that's essentially what God's or the Creator's greatest warrior is, right? They say the greatest warrior is the man who can defeat himself, not the man who can defeat anything or anyone else, right? It's the defeating of the animal nature, right? It's being able to corral that thing and to control it, right? To not live through it, right? To allow it to be a part of you, but not to allow it to be the majority of you, like all of you. And what I get from that is um, um, the merging of spirit and physical, um, the understanding that you can go too far in either direction and it would be too far because there's no balance, right? Like you could literally be too spiritual as well, right? Like if you're not paying attention to your church, this temple, this vessel. So like um I think it says to me, there's no one without the other, and without a marriage of the two, like it has to be a marriage. They have to be able to coexist with each other. Like nothing else matters unless you have that. Like that's what I get from that.
I'll bring it up, AD. What you think?
So another way of looking at it also is really dealing with certain energies and entities, right? And being aware of another reality of oneself. But it's just so easy to not be aware of that because we talked about frequency. So you got to realize what things are around you and what your habits are. You got to understand where your mind is. Because as a man, we losing our testosterone. So you got to realize how your testosterone is being killed and destroyed. And I'm not talking about what all these thoughts and ideas. I'm talking about what the things you do to yourself and what you put in your body. But also, you should get the book John D. and the Empire Angels, where Jason loves getting into that thought. And we also have an article on it on our Substack where you can check it out. Because that verse we had went over before, and this is a verse that applies to multiple things too, to certain things we deal with in the world that we are ignorant of and we have to become aware. But that's my input and take on it, bro.
What you say, Hood? What say you?
It made me think about Donald Trump, how like we live in a world where it ain't like this dude is riding around with AK-47s and like gang banging on people, but he like going through court and all of this type of stuff. So it just seemed like the shit is something is against them, right? Like maybe the people,
The system.
yeah, something is against them, right? And I don't care, spiritual, not spiritual, black, white, man or woman. If you don't like Donald Trump, you kind of weird to me because it's like you act like this nigga done did something to you, so you could like he did something specifically to you that you don't like him. But I ain't saying like I like him. I'm saying that why don't we?
No, I totally get you.
Why we don't dislike Brad Pitt? Why we don't dislike any random person? Why we putting all of our hate for the whole white race into Donald Trump and just whatever he do ever since he just been a bad guy. And that shit weird to me. Like it's the weirdest thing because
selective outrage shit, right?
Yeah, from my perspective, he kind of cool. Like he ain't the best nigga ever, but who the fuck is, right? Who's perfect? But I'm not like no fan of him. But I don't. He ain't did nothing that I ever seen or heard about to make me be like, you know what, man, fuck that nigga Donald Trump, bro. Like no, he
for the type of backlash and vitriol that he receives, there's no way in hell you can say it's justified, right? Like
I don't get it.
He got Chirac boys.
It's super weird. It's super weird. It's super weird. Like I still haven't heard nobody speak out against Harvey Weinstein, and he was up for doing all that stuff to all of those people.
Nah,
Like, right?
you just
Like,
made me think. Joe Biden wrote the crime bill that I know
yeah,
your uncles or brother or somebody in your
yeah,
family have went to prison before. I
yeah,
guarantee you.
yeah.
And it's probably because of Joe Biden personally wrote that shit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just crazy to me. Like we can see his
Yeah,
evil.
it's the same thing with his partner, Kamala. Like, nobody has put more black people to death than Kamala Harris. But you know, um that's just how that cookie crumbles, bro. Like, um black people don't like to admit that they were duped by Democrats, and when you tell them anything about a Democrat, they got a problem with it. So, like, that's just the way that thing falls. Like, honestly, it's weird. It's weird.
It made me think about how like this whole kind of like we talking about social media addiction and
Mm-hmm.
like everything that happened in the world, it kind of happened online now. And then like
Mm-hmm.
the things that happen in real life, we don't really know or really tap into. Like if you ask a kid like what they want to be when they grow up, they be like, I want to be a I want to be an
You
influencer. You
want
know
to
what I'm
be
saying?
Kai Cenat.
Yeah, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
just like that whole shit to me is just like super like, back in the days we want to be a firefighter or a policeman or something to that effect. But now, all we are is like
Think about it, you got like millions of businesses, bro, and like millions of podcasts all over the world. So like
yeah, we just want to talk
everybody has their own everybody has their own podcast. Like, it's crazy.
crazy. We still ain't learning shit. So
No,
um
no.
you also was talking about the two dudes that got into a conversation. I was like, maybe we could listen to like
Oh
a
yeah,
couple
you pulled it up. Yeah, yeah, you pulled it up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it.
of it because I don't think that everybody acting like the dude on the left is just killing it with the logic,
Yeah, I
but
don't think so
I don't
either.
think
I
so.
just think it's his crowd. Like, he's on
Yeah,
his channel. It's his
yeah,
crowd. Of course, it's gonna be like that.
home team advantage.
Yeah, of course, it's gonna be like that. You put
But
them on a neutral floor, he wouldn't really have that much say so. And plus, the dude doing the clipping is a so-called logical red pill dude too. So yeah,
let's watch a couple minutes of it.
Anything for that, man? Scientifically, can you dispute what I said?
You sound uneducated, like to the point where this is so level of surface to the point.
God dang,
How
man.
could you?
Okay,
How could you
educate
sit
me.
here? I'm just asking you, like, how could you
Educate
sit
me.
here and tell
I'm
me that
fine.
my father gave me what all males are females before they turn into a male based off the decision of the mother. Every male can look at their actual scrotum sac and see a line from the bottom of their scrotum sac to the tip of their penis. All male. That means you were sold up. Your testicles are nothing but your ovaries. Your penis is nothing but an elongated clitoris. At the end of the day, you're nothing but an inside out female. I'm sorry that this man has never been told that, and he doesn't understand that he was made in the likeness and the image of his mother. I'm sorry that before anybody ever taught him anything, his mother was there. Your mother is literally the only thing that you know in life. You don't even know if that's your father, but your mother knows if it's your father or not. You know everything about your mother because that's where you came from. That's your first home. That's your first origin. The black woman has always been considered God, even before the patriarch took over and started to actually make a male God. But it was never a male that was being God. It was always the woman. In Islam, it was the woman. In the Catholic Church, it was the woman. In ancient Egypt, it was the woman. In Samaria, Mesopotamia, Babylon, it was the woman. Phoenicia was the woman. Chaldea was the woman. But if he doesn't know that, that means he's not reading. And I'm telling you, I'm trying to respond to the man, even to the point where if a woman is making up your whole total makeup and she's using her menstrual blood to do it within her womb, that's why you women don't bleed for 9 months. You literally coagulate a child in your womb. What does the man have to do with it? Is the man shooting blood in you, woman, or is he literally giving you his DNA via his sperm? So when you're actually making this baby in your womb, you're using your blood. That's why you don't bleed for 9 months. When that baby comes out, that is a product of its mother. So the baby literally develops through life. As the baby develops through life, we get to puberty. That's when our body chemically starts to actually make the sperm in our body. But it came from our mother. Everything comes from your mother. You get it from your mother. Your mother is your God. Your father is not your God. The sperm in his body comes from his mother. Where do you think we got our body from? You didn't make this. You don't have nothing to do with your face. You don't have nothing to do with your head and none of that. Your mama gave that to you. She birthed you. How could you sit there and say that she's not your God? Your mother was God before you was taught about God. Somebody had to tell you about God in order for you to believe them. Now in your mind, that's God. But what if your mother knew she was God? She would teach you about God. How can a man be a God when he cannot produce life? A man cannot sustain life. He does not have breast milk.
Got you. You done or are you still going?
No, go ahead, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm respectful. So if you want to go and respond, you can go.
Okay. So, I mean, everything you said was just nonsense. It didn't make any sense. It didn't.
Wait. Hold up. Hold up. Man said black goddesses was worshipped all over the ancient world, which is a fact. Man said that the penis is just a clitoris and we all girls before we decide if we're gonna be boys or not, and that's a fact. So I mean, man's was like
The nigga said everything he said was nonsense.
wait. Nah.
Like he said it like he was on his computer looking the shit up while the nigga talking. Like, no, he was gonna say that regardless. Regardless of anything that he said, he was gonna say that shit was nonsense.
Like, yo, is you really serious right now?
You think if bro was allowed to pull up all that, he'll be able to like let him talk, or he'll just gonna be like, just be like, nah, that's bullshit,
Nah, the logical dude would probably have like 5'6'5" bodyguards with him. He'll probably have his peoples jump him. Like, nah, like he not the type to get into a fist fight. Like you could tell the dudes that's the type, and he not the type. Nah, he not the type.
Nah, but this is why you got consciousness.
I'll fly you out. Like what? Like yeah, like
this is weird. Why when you have consciousness, you can't be talking to niggas that don't have consciousness. Because you can't do shit on earth, and the nigga will just say like everything you just said was nonsense. Like what the fuck?
He said it so confidently, bro. Like
I'll never want to be gaslit like this in my life. Wait.
Ever.
Okay. So, I mean, everything you said was just nonsense. It didn't make any sense. It didn't.
Bro said, I know what
it's
my life.
Bro. That's crazy.
Okay. So, I mean, everything you said was just nonsense. It didn't make any sense. It didn't correlate to anything. One plus one didn't add up. You didn't have any rebuttal to it. You just started speaking nonsense. But let me ask you a question.
I have to force myself to speak because you won't allow me to.
Does 1 plus 1 equal 2? Does 1 plus 1 equal 2?
No, one and one come together, they merge. That's one, right? Think about it. Right?
God dang.
When
so
one and one come together, they merge.
Point.
Right?
The nigga don't know what 1 plus 1 equals.
Merge, right?
He said that one and one merges.
Put it together, they merge. One, right?
Oh,
if I come together with a woman, don't I go into that woman? Don't me?
Bro.
Moment of silence for my brain cells.
Yeah, bro. I was watching this at work, like, gosh, bro, that couldn't be me, bro. Like, no way, no way. Mm-mm.
We're gonna react to this next video, bro, but we're gonna do it in sections. Each section we're gonna
Okay,
talk because we gotta
okay.
figure it out.
Children, we need to talk. If you started your spiritual journey through TikTok at the height of the pandemic, there's a great chance that you're rocking with some misconceptions that are keeping you stagnant. So let's check in. I'm Jasmine, a celebrity spiritual consultant, dream psychic, medium, your favorite internet earth guide, and this is Reality Check. For one, you do not need to be able to see your spirit guide, nor do you need to know their name in order to work with them. If we are multidimensional beings, your spirit guide must be too, and they may not always want to format into a dimension that is perceivable to us. Here on this plane, there are colors and sounds that we cannot see nor hear because we don't have the capabilities required. So maybe your spirit guide is not focused on teaching you their name because you don't have 4 lungs, 36 vocal cords, and 6 tongues to utter it. I was once in meditation and I heard that Hathor's name is not Hathor. It is a breath, but the closest that we could get to with our humanness is Hathor.
So, are you or are you not pressed? Why or why not to know your spirit guide's name? I never even thought of this concept before. What say y'all?
I would say, like, to some people, you have people who want to like show off and just say and ask you questions because people always gonna try to compare their spiritual journey to others. So people always gonna ask you about your experience. You're like, oh, I didn't go through that, or you should have went through this. Did you do that? And this is like a synopsis of that.
Yeah, there was never any correlation between spirit guide and human beings. So therefore, I was never looking for my spirit guide to speak English to me, and I wasn't looking for my spirit guide like in a human being's body.
Right.
And so, like,
Hi, I'm
yeah,
Frank. Looking at
yeah,
like what?
yeah, like when
I'm
it
your
came
spirit
to
guide.
yeah, like when it came to downloads and shit like that, like I know it's coming from a place that's not going to look like the everyday person I talk to, right? So like those two concepts never met. Like I never thought about it that way because I wasn't looking for it to come from that way. That makes sense.
Yeah, I never put the two and two together, but let's continue.
Point number 2, the spirits do not work for you, baby doll. Just because you leave an offering does not mean that is going to bathe result. You have to establish a connection. Jasmine, it's about intention. Imagine a bitch builds me a shrine and you bring me an apple. But Jasmine, my heart is pure. I don't give a damn. I'm a god. And if I'm being real, some of the spirits don't want to work with y'all because your spirits are in fact dirty. You have
Hold on. What would a spirit do with anything?
Whoa. Whoa.
Why would a
I'm
spirit?
sorry. I'm sorry. Whoa. Whoa. Jeez. Go ahead, big bro. Go ahead.
Nah, I just feel like an apple or sincerity is the key in reference to like spiritual understanding, not specifics, but that's just kind of what popped up in my mind.
No. You right on. Like, and that's the whole reason why I'm laughing because of her, how do you say, unflinching willingness to be so crass, right? Like she's just like so willing to like curse you out to your face, and I'm just like, that's not really spiritual, like. like if we keep a score here, like that's not really, that's more ego shit than anything. But I digress. Like,
Yeah, because
wow.
the first thing a motherfucker gonna say is like, who are you to say it was spiritual? It was not spiritual. But it's kind of like
The muscle.
but it's kind of like, maybe we gonna agree to disagree, but let's not operate in subjective truth. In reference to like getting to an objective truth, there has to be discourse. There has
Yes.
to be an issue that's brought up, and there has to be a disagreement, and we have to intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, and whatever, come to an agreement. And you can't be so emotionally and spiritually
Facts.
immature to say, well, we all can just have our own opinion, la, 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 la.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Like,
it makes
that's
sense.
not.
We all drive in
Yeah,
cars.
that's not what this is. You know what I'm saying? Like,
We need to figure out a standard or ethic, or else people gonna continue to like shit on this spiritual work. And so many people have worked hard to build this shit up, and they didn't build it up off of we can all just do whatever we want, right? And if they did, that's the reason why the shit didn't work. Whenever shit didn't work, that's what my maturity says. Whenever some shit didn't work in my life, I tried to do whatever I wanted to do. Whenever some shit did work, I followed specific instruction. And that instruction was in reference to what I wanted, but what I want has an instruction guide. I just need to find the right guide. But acting
and
like I can
I,
just do what
and
I
I
want,
call that the most mature thing ever because minds would say things never worked when I didn't lay out all the facts in front of me, right? Like if I just heard about a thing and reacted to a thing, 9 times out of 10, that reaction was not going to be the best reaction, right? Because I just, went with it. But if I actually looked at what was in front of me and, planned it out or took into account everything that was going on, yeah, that reaction was 10 times better, right? Like, because now you're involved and you know exactly what's there, as opposed to, hey, like, yeah, this says this and that says that. Like, you can't just always put those two things together. Like, if you don't have that reference point. So, yeah, I think it makes sense to me completely.
It's like the quote, "You're not guaranteed the fruits of your labor."
I was talking to somebody, one of the people that's on this channel, they like in the government, like government and like agriculture, and they get readings or whatever. But like, shameless plug. Anyways, um, they was telling me how like the deepest anxiety in the world
Yeah, 'cause
is
you got a lot of those. You got a lot of those. But I
a few,
digress. Go ahead.
a few, a
Go ahead.
few, a few. Um, the worst thing in the world is planting a garden because you don't know if the rabbits is going to be taking your carrots. You don't know if they even going to yield what you need. You have no idea if it's going to rain enough. You don't know if you should have rotated the crops, or like it's so many things that can go wrong for a farmer, for an agriculturalist, that the reality is all of the things that possibly could go wrong, there would never be no farms, gardens, nothing, right? But the reality of the human spirit is that with all things considered, motherfuckers do that shit anyway. Anything can happen to you any day. But the reality that we should all focus in is that if we are intentional, the negativity does not happen to us. But if you into this spiritual shit, you're not even taught um how to be intentional for real. I feel like spirituality nowadays is like everybody is not even talking about the shit that you need to deal with so you can actually feel good, which is instruction, which is guidance. You need that, right? Or else you just kind of lost. And when you lost and you ain't going to actually be found. And I think this with people I've been talking to for years, because there's a lot of people I talk to that can't get right. You know what I'm saying? And won't get right because they won't actually do anything for real. Like the shit is just that bad, right? But it's just like some people can figure it out like that because they ready for it. And that's just kind of like when they say everybody's different. Yeah, everybody different, but the truth is the same. And if you actually in this shit with the wrong mindset, it don't matter who you listening to, what you doing, how you doing it. It's like I always use this analogy. If you smoking crack, it really ain't shit I can do for you or with you, regardless of what we resonate on, regardless of the frequencies or any of that shit, astrology, nothing, because your ass smoke crack. But that's just an analogy to like whatever shit is going to be obstructing your spiritual growth, whatever vice or lust that you can't really get over with, that's going to hold you back. But only you know what that is, right? But people actually have that shit and don't really want to deal with that shit. And since nobody going to call you on that shit, you could exist in a spiritual format in a spiritual world because nobody going to be actually really vetting you. So it's niggas that's just fucked up, right? That can exist in a community just because a nigga want to make some money. And I'm like, my spirit guides tell me like this the worst shit ever, right? When you have a spiritual community and none of these niggas is learning about their soul. They just getting conduct.
It's prevalent on the flip side of that too, because there's this aura, this fog that a lot of people are still stuck in, from your panics and your void wonders and your polites and your Rashad Jamals. Like there's this this stigma of echo chamber stuff that people think is spirituality and think is consciousness, and they want to hold on to that. They're stuck in that, and they have no wherewithal to subtract themselves from that yet. And I think that's what's clouding this new evolution of what spirituality could be and what spirituality actually is right now. Like it's still a taboo thing, but people use it when it's convenient. Um, they build these walls so they can't be approached. They can't be questioned by anybody close to them because they build these walls by making spirituality convenient to them. When they say they're fixing themselves and they're loving themselves and all of this stuff, right? Like it's disingenuous because spirituality is only convenient when you don't want to be questioned.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to questioning self and having those conversations with self, you lose that battle every time because the ego has to be, front and center. And that's the problem. Like, when you get to spirituality, when your ego doesn't have a say.
Groupthink is a psychological phenomenon that occurs within a group of people in which the desire for harmony or conformity in the group results in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. Now, y'all think like I be just on some weird shit when I be talking, but in this sentence, you could understand why you just spent thousands of dollars for whatever the fuck online, for whatever the fuck course or whatever the fuck reading or whatever. That's an irrational or dysfunctional decision making outcome because you could have used that money to invest in yourself for real, right? You could have got something besides a scam, right? Groupthink is a psychological phenomenon. I mean, it's not normal that occurs within a group of people. So whenever you in a group of people and you trying to figure this shit out, you probably under a form of phenomena because you want to be a part of the group so bad that you're not even really making decisions for real. The group is making decisions for you. And then outside of that, like all of this shit is like marketing 101, right? And niggas' whole job is to get money about your pockets. it's whole staffs and whole teams that's just like, fuck these niggas. How can we get their money? Right? So when you think about this and like scale it back to left or right, up or down, conscious, unconscious, when you at work with your friends, like it's a level of groupthink that's taking place, right? And just because the group needs to stay together, real shit can't take place. You ain't really going to figure it out until you get by yourself, for real. That's just the truth. Cohesiveness or the desire for cohesiveness in a group may produce a tendency among its members to agree at all costs. That's fucked up. It causes the group to minimize conflict and reach a consensus decision without critical evaluation. These are toxic families, toxic environments, toxic friend groups. It's an ant telling the ant, yo, this is how we supposed to be a human. How you know? I found out from another ant. How he know? He found out from another ant. How he know? He got it from a big ant. How he? None of these niggas talk to an actual human. Because the reality of actual chakra work is that you actually have to do it to understand spirituality. And niggas, you ain't naturally spiritual nothing. That's the secret. Ain't no nigga just woke up and spiritual. No, he woke up and became a motherfucking con artist. A charlatan.
Yes.
That's what he woke up and did. Or she did.
He woke up drinking his own fucking Kool-Aid.
I seen somebody talk like, do some code language.
He was talking like a Klingon. He was talking like a Klingon.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Like, man, this is the science right here.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
Yes. It's 2024. Today, nigga. Today.
Yo.
Hey, bro. This shit is over. But yeah, it's more or less fried or die and laid to the side in this spiritual community. But go ahead though. I just saw.
Nah, you Gucci, yo.
Any shadow work, you don't meditate, you don't commit to anywhere else, but you're going to commit to conjuring my energy, to invoking my spirit, and to giving me the things that I need to sustain to be able to sustain you back, girl, please. But probably the most important, if a spirit wants to find you, it will. A lot of y'all be like, Jasmine, I'm scared to start spiritual work. I don't want to unleash a spirit in my house. Your house is a spirit. The plants that you just bought, they're spirits, including the one that's dying in the corner because you ain't watered it in a week. Yeah, an unhappy spirit, baby doll. And most times the spirits will try and find you within your dreams, which is why when you start your journey, the dreams get real hectic. Make sure you're writing your dreams down, and if you need help decode.
Nah, talking to motherfuckers that specifically just started their journey is nasty work.
Yo.
Audience, you gross.
Yeah, cause like that means like if you can't take her delivery, is something wrong with you? Nah, son. Nah, we not all like this. We not all like this. The fuck?
You can't make this shit up.
Shit is wild.
Them, download the Yoru X app. It's a community of dreamers.
Yeah, I ain't joining no app with you, ho. I'm sorry.
Yeah. After you told me to kiss your ass the whole video, like.
Bitch just crawled up out of the divine goddess's pussy and started talking to us. Like,
yo, she came right out of Hathor and spoke her shit.
I hate a spiritual hierarchist. I hate a
motherfucker. Yeah, like your name is more superior than. Come on, all right, like.
Hey, listen, I got all the answers for you. Sit down, take notes, like chill.
Yeah, like come on. You doing too much. Like
I'm looking for a good salad tosser. Can you?
Yo,
actually looking
Oh.
for caramel or honey sauce. What should I do? She'll be like, you need to petition your ancestors. Like, yo,
Yeah,
like the ancestry DNA test where you give them like lizard DNA and they be like, you from Africa. ain't you?"
yeah, yeah. She wants you to do a ritual with Obatala and shit. Like what? Like nah. What?
Everybody don't got the answers. And when motherfuckers act like they do got the answers, it's only to somebody who's ignorant. So if you look up to somebody, that's your dumbass. Like I'm gonna call you like I'm not going to shade the niggas on YouTube because the niggas on YouTube going to be on YouTube. But if you going to dick ride a nigga because they got a YouTube channel, some shit that anybody can do, you need to really reevaluate your mental space because at the end of the day, this is not for dick riding. It's for information sharing. Like you could solve a lot of problems on this app if you wanted to, but it'd be too much dick riding. The
Yeah,
motherfucker
I'll say
Motherfuckers
I'll
get a couple people on their dick and they be like, oh, this feel good. I want more people on my dick. And so that just be the thing. And it just be like, how many people can I fit on this motherfucker? And the whole thing about it, I'd be like, ain't you a woman? When did you? She'd be like, I got a strap. I'd be like, oh, okay. So you could probably get like a limited size strap and fit the whole galaxy on that motherfucker if you really think about it. But it's like, is that what it is about the spiritual journey for you? Like to build your followers, like to like act like you like what I've noticed with these spiritual platforms, like you could take your platform and you can get a lot of pussy and a lot of money from it. You know what I'm saying? And I guess that's what people be doing. No shade or no knocking them, but it's just like why motherfuckers act like they care about spirituality be the crazy part to me.
I would say the only thing I would add to that is um any any spiritual person that allows you to follow them like as if they know more than you is beating you in the head anyway. So like um anybody that speaks to you from a level of hierarchy or they are above you or they are greater than you, like in the spiritual shit, like anybody, like
Yeah.
they beat you in your fucking head. Like that's really what it all shakes down to, right?
We all created equal under God. And if you don't
Like
understand that, you'll
like
fucking
that shit is weird to me. Anybody that can speak to you like you are lower than them, especially in spirituality, it's
and
on
they
some bullshit. It's
be
on
like,
some bullshit, bro. It's
if
on
you're
some
new to the
bullshit.
spiritual journey, now you can listen to me for about like, bitch, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, I'm new to the spiritual journey and I know more than you. So what the fuck? Like, I'm more advanced than you and I'm new to this. So what? Is you going to tell me that? No, you're not going to tell me that. It goes against your bottom line. I tell niggas all the time, you way more advanced than me. If you more advanced than me, you more advanced than me. Like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. I'm not even going to live your life. We all going to live our own life. So I'm going to give credit where credit is due. These motherfuckers will actually blind you of your own light because they be so pressed to like big sis you and big bro you, which is always just the weirdest shit. But
it is the weirdest shit. It is.
the weirdest shit to me is that people be into it though, like they feed into it. Like
They
that's where
do.
that.
They do. They do. Because I always approached it from the level of I'm not telling you nothing that you don't already know. Like I'm just here to remind you. Like I might just be that person that's here and in this space and time to remind you of something. Like I'm not teaching you nothing that you don't already know. I always say that. Like there's nothing that exists that hasn't already existed. Like we are all just saying something that was already put here before. Some people might not be privy to the level of meaning and intensity that came with these messages. However, it doesn't mean that these messages don't still exist. Like And some people are on that frequency and some people are not. That's just what it is. Like, everybody can't go. Everybody's not supposed to go. And like, everybody don't want to go anyway. So it's just for those who have ears to hear, you know.
Motherfuckers that's willing to do the work. If you ain't willing to do the work, it don't matter.
That's it.
I think it's important for people to realize that spirituality and materialism can coexist. The biggest misconception about spirituality is that the physical world and physical things no longer matter or don't mean nothing. As if once you wake up, you become disconnected and lose interest in the physical world. That's not true. If anything, you enjoy the physical world more. The difference is you're not attached to material possessions. You're not letting external factors define you as a spiritual being. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience, a physical experience on this planet. It's nothing but materialism around us. It's literally embedded in the world that we live in. You can customize and decorate your human body however you want and enjoy material things. That don't make you less spiritual than the next. Being spiritual and connected to source don't always have to be so serious. It don't always have to be strict. It ain't no rule book to spirituality. We are all on an individual path. Do as your spirit desires. One of the reasons why we're here is to have this human experience. It's nothing wrong with enjoying the physical. It's all about balance.
What you think about that?
I mean, we do deal with duality. We were on that first point. And then two, most times we sit up and compare ourselves and see and try to tell people what's the route. But 9 times out of 10, most people don't even know what that balance is. Because how you supposed to even do better if you don't know? And most of the time, you see these images, they be smoke and mirrors, dog. So it's like you probably living up to this false reality, and someone telling you you can't drink water. You know, dogs supposed to drink. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just shit you fall for, and then you say it's spiritual, so you keep doing it.
That remind me of that Mother Goddess where she was like against the hospitals, and the hospital could have saved her life, but she ain't go because it was in her spiritual belief not to go to hospitals. End up dying. So it'll just be like, I ain't never going. Like, I don't fuck with hospitals, but if I gotta go, I gotta go. It's that type of deal. Like, if it's something that I need to go for, I think I should be able to differentiate or live a life that will keep me out of hospitals as much as possible. But I don't think like people get into the spiritual, it might just go super OD into one extreme, and then that one extreme. But I feel like even this conversation is one extreme though. Like connecting materiality and spirituality and then saying you should just do whatever you want. Well, that's kind of like like that statement is counterintuitive because material, you can't do whatever to material, right? Material has a structure, it has a law, it has a give and take. Within the material world, you can't just be like, I want to make a house full of silk because I can just do what I want. Spirit told me that my house can be made of silk. And
yeah, that sounds like a subconscious justification to me.
Yeah, so you mix in both worlds and then you confusing the message. It sound good, but if you're
you adding spirit when it's convenient, right, big bro?
Yeah, if you're gonna add spirit and materialism, then you can't do whatever you want. You need a structure, you need a plan, you need a schematic, you need a team, you need compartmentalization, you need a lot if you're going to combine spirit and material world, because the material world has a fundamental structure to it.
And that means to start with self first of all, like because you're the first physical thing in the material world. So that would mean to start with her first before, right? Like,
I mean, you learn a lot when
steps. If she gonna do it that way and add physical and spirit together like that, like she skipped mad steps is what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not super easy to just say, if you go and blend the material, because then it get complicated as fuck. Because what about the masculine prince? Like that's always like I've grown out of like the feminine understanding of whatever I feel is valid. I feel that whatever I feel is a challenge that I need to overcome. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's my happiness, that's my bliss personally. But that's a masculine perspective. I feel that if we are able to blend masculine and feminine, you say you do feel good when you put the work in. I want to feel
Mm-hmm.
good, you want to feel good, but the missing piece is the work that needs to be put in. If we have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation and we actually build something, it's because we discussed the work that needed to be put in. If we wanted to
Mm-hmm.
circle jerk, we would be talking, feeling good, but nothing would be built. And online, it's a lot of conversations like it just kind of like it feels good, but ultimately there is no structural, fundamental thing that people can grow off of. And ultimately, I feel like it ruins and obstructs the whole spiritual journey because it's so fucked up.
So pervasive too.
What that word mean? I ain't go to public. I went to public school. I don't know what that means.
It's so out there, but there is no right or wrong. Anybody can pinpoint that isn't connected to a manufactured narrative, right? Like, um, there's no correct way to do it because most people that are doing it are charlatans.
Yeah, it's charlatans everywhere. Everybody got the answers. Everybody got a this or that or this or that that
What's
you can.
another way of calling it Machiavellianism type shit?
I went to public school. Y'all be saying these words. I gotta Google it.
Machiavellianism, that's different. That's more about a demeanor and a disposition, um, your approach. Um,
Yeah, it is Machiavellian. It is. It is. It is. It is. It is having or showing no moral principles, not
mhm,
honest or fair. It is. It's
mhm,
unscrupulous. Y'all
mhm.
ever y'all ever watch the Ninth Gate? The Ninth Gate,
Yeah,
where the
yeah.
beginning of the movie, he's like scamming the dude in the wheelchair, and he's in the
Mhm,
dude like they meet in the elevator. He's like, "You're unscrupulous,"
mhm,
like
mhm.
whatever for the bread, and that's what these niggas will do whatever for the bread. And it's cool if we was selling, if we was doing drop shipping, right? We
Yeah,
not talking
yeah.
drop shipping though. We talking about spiritual development and the reality of spiritual development. I'm cool with merging it with the material world. If you gonna merge it with the material world, let's equate your spiritual development to a mountain. How much money does it take to build a mountain?
Mhm,
How
mhm.
how much guidance does it take to get to a mountain? Well, it's not it's just time, energy, and effort. And that's why I would post videos and talk and just spend time and answer questions because that's better than anything. The time that you spend reflecting on it is your mountain. That's what it costs. If you ain't spent the time in it, you're not going to have it. And that's
That's a
any
fact. That's a
name me
fact.
something, and everybody, you would think that it would be one thing. Like I always say, why isn't no class on how to get $1 million? Don't you think? Don't you think if I knew how to make $1 million, I would throw a class for $100? Everybody would come to the class, right?
I think that ties in perfectly
But
to.
there's no such class because it takes a nigga to be so disciplined and focused to say, fuck this. I'm not gonna do none of the shit I wanna do. I'm gonna invest half of my money. I'm gonna make $1 million. A nigga have to do
Mhm.
that shit. Fuck a course. What a course gonna do? Whatever you wanna do, you gotta actually do it. So if you talking like spiritual whatever and it's absolving you of accountability, Yeah, of course that shit gonna feel good. You gonna spend all your money, but the nigga that you spending your money with, he's unscrupulous. She's unscrupulous, not honest, fair, Machiavellian. They just don't give a fuck, and they willing to tell you that they fucking Hathor, bitch.
Leveling. Yeah. Yeah.
I was channeling, and Hathor came to me. Like it's that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And you start to meditate, you like, why fucking Hathor don't fucking talk to me? You ain't talk to her either. She's telling you that shit. So it's just interesting. Interesting shit.
Mm-hmm.
Machiavellianism. Y'all niggas is smart.
Important for people to realize that spirituality and materialism can coexist. The biggest misconception about spirituality is that the physical world and physical things no longer matter or don't.
No, we just watched that. I don't want to watch this last video because I don't really get into what the fuck she talking about. She was giving me a headache for real. That last joint. But we've been on here for two any other ideas or concepts y'all want to bring across the collective before we get up out of here? We had a
Nah,
lot.
I think we good, bro.
Yeah. We was cooking on this John.
We were developing a new format and a new style. We got a lot of different ideas that I feel like if we could just collaborate a little better as a unit and just be a little bit more consistent, because all we would really do is just work out our ideas and be consistent with the conversation because nobody's having real collaborative spiritual conversations. I think spiritual conversations for the most part is one nigga blabbering off at the neck, right? No pun intended. Referencing myself, but it's cool to kind of like listen and get your ideas off and still have a show that's based around content. But at the same point, can't do this by myself. So I appreciate y'all for helping me reflect and get some shit up off my chest.
Ashe. Appreciate
you. Ashe.
It's like the gym. We just gotta keep showing up, hitting the weights.
Yep, and soon enough you can go to the Whole Foods, just get what you need. Man. Tell the cashier Ashe, and because you can do whatever you want to do because we spiritual.
On me. Make sure you wake up, spend 7
spiritual mumbo jumbo. Know the difference between spiritual mumbo jumbo and real critical discerning conversation. Like we not agreeable niggas. We don't agree with each other most of the time, but we are here for different high levels of conversation that don't involve any of our egos. And that's another thing we probably gonna need to bring back. You know, I have to start leaving your egos at the front door again. We gotta reintroduce that. But yeah, I just want to thank y'all for the space. Dark Serpent, Sacred Dark Serpent, Racine Maurice, initiates all over the planet. Yeah, we here. Yeah, we got something real beautiful coming up for the collective, man. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm really, really excited to get down to that, get to the brass tacks on that. And yeah, thank y'all again for the space and I say to the ancestors.
Nah, for real, because I feel like a lot of times people that make you upset is usually something in that you need to be doing. And I've always kind of like recognized that throughout my life. And today I was upset and made me realize that I need to actively do what I'm supposed to be doing. And that requires, working with people, and just getting the ball rolling on this spiritual education, and like making it to where people can get some before and after. Because I just don't want to be a nigga that's just up here talking. I want to be
Mm-hmm.
an instrument of development, an instrument of transformation,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't do that for niggas. So there has to be a level of making sure that we're doing this work for real. And I'm only just like the type of teacher that's willing to learn at the same time, at the same speed, because that's what is on my heart to do. So, with that being said, just going to open up the school back. We had the school open. It's been 2 years since the mystery school have been active and operating, but we're gonna get that back up. It's a little costly, but I don't care. I'm willing to like foot the cost and just get people back in there because I like that. That was really cool. And my spirit was like, damn, we need to get that shit back popping again. But it's going to be in collaboration with the initiates, everything that we got going on, like talking to these dudes about astrology and spiritual things. Um, Same level, same understanding, and but different perspective, different ways of teaching and bringing shit to the collective. But we all going to do it in a professional, realistic manner. But like I said, we're going to focus more on transformation befores and afters, and providing real solutions for people. Not trying to tap nobody's pockets, but you know, when things have value, I don't mind paying for shit that I want to buy, right? If it's some shit that I want to buy, I don't mind paying for it, because I know that I can afford it. It's not going to break my pockets, and I'm going to enjoy it. And so that's more or less what we thinking about. But to get people interested in it, the first installment is going to be completely free, just to let you all know what we offering. But just education, spiritual education, in more of a way of you're actually learning and you can see and feel and understand the learning, and nobody is like trying to take advantage of you. We really trying to get the transformation popping. And it's just like doing this work. I used to feel like, I don't know, maybe I can, maybe I can't, but I know now that I can't do shit for nobody. That make me feel better about doing this shit, because if anybody gonna do it, you're gonna do it for yourself. So, I can only just hold this space open and allow for everything to take place. So it's about to go down. The mystery school, the app's about to be open back up. Initiates, we gonna come with more content, more videos, more thought-provoking topics in relation to spirituality and the real world. If there's any topics that y'all want to talk about, let us know. We'll get on that thing immediately. But yeah, anything y'all want to say, and behind that, pause. But yeah, anything y'all want to say in addition to what I just said?
Yeah, y'all sure finna get on. Never mind, 'cause I'm finna catch up. Anyway, so I just hope everyone enjoyed the show. Please always be free to open to give us content suggestions. Let us know what you want to do. Just really, talk to us. Hit us in the Discord if you ever joined that, or subscribe to the email list and talk to us on there. We really care about you guys, and we want to give what you guys want. So always be free to communicate with us. Always hit us up, and we can find a way to help. And just ashe to the team, no doubt. That's off the muscle.
Yeah. Please, join the Discord again. Please check out White Rabbit's site. They got some of the flyers deals going on. They got some new shit going on right now. Some shit that I am thirsty for. Yes, I am also a customer.
Louis Vuitton.
ColumbianExchange.com. Yeah. Substack initiates. Like I said, everything else initiates. Yeah. Thank y'all for the space. That's it.
Ashe, we're gonna work on some more content on the flip side. Might have another video tomorrow, who knows? But it's the weekend, you know. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. You know, so I know some of y'all gonna be out enjoying Pride weekend or whatever, you know. Enjoy yourself, you know, you about to get extra freaky and shit, you know. I don't know. Like I'm going crazy out here in these streets, man. I need to chill out, man. I need to like just
Keep
relax.
keep
You know,
that flame burning. Keep that flame burning in blood. Keep that flame burning.
you know, enjoy your weekend, and we'll get back to this when we get back to it. See y'all on the flip side. It's been another show, another banger. Like, share, and subscribe too. That'll be dope if y'all can do so. And yeah, we'll catch y'all up in the next video, man. Peace.